So we talk about a lot of different directors on this channel. We're kind of like a very director like centric show.
Which I want to talk about a little bit because, like, do you subscribe to like the Auteur Theory in a way?
Yeah, of course.
You do?
Yeah, do you not?
No. I think I like identifying movies by directors because I feel like directors really do have like majority of influence on a project.
Mm,
But there's so much that goes into a project. There's art design, production, music, cinematography, makeup, set design. Like, it's all encompassed in like this, Christopher Nolan film. But it's
yeah.
like he has so many talented people top of like their game working on Oppenheimer and like making something that's like a masterclass film, and then it's under the umbrella of like Nolan. You know what I mean? Which I don't know. I get why it's easy for people to identify like this is a Kubrick film, this is a Hitchcock film, this is a Jim Jarmusch film. But I think that overall, I think it's kind of like detrimental to like the whole process because of how many hands are actually involved on a project.
Yeah, but I think the thing is that Christopher Nolan can have a totally different crew, a totally different composer, a different cinematographer, a different editor, different production design, and you still know that it's a Christopher Nolan movie at the end
Yes,
of the day.
but
It's not like the same people working on it every time. The only thing that's the same is the director, and there's like a link stylistically between all their works, and they have so much influence and like are able to describe it to all those people that even if they have not they're all talented, but even if it's a different talented person, you can like describe his vision and they can like kind of replicate that same sort of feel like that's strung all the way through
they
the
can replicate
filmography.
the feel, right? Yes, I do think that he has an overall vision that he brings to the table, but if you add a different crew, it's going to be a completely different movie. I really believe that. I feel like,
But it's not. But he's had totally different crew. That's what I'm saying. Like he
yeah, I
has.
know, but like he's not remaking Oppenheimer. He's not making the same movie. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
Like he's making The Prestige, which is very different, and he's making Oppenheimer. But like the thing about Oppenheimer, which is like why, like I don't know, spoiler alert for anyone that hasn't watched any movies, it's like top runner for the Oscars this year, is because all of those people that worked on it were at the top of their game.
mm,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
you change out an aspect of the film, it changes the film. I
yeah,
really do. Like the end product is not going to be the same with a different crew. So I
yeah,
think he can do like an Oppenheimer movie. He's the one that has the driving force, and he's the one that's able to like have sway with the studio to get it made and get funding and whatnot and oversee this. I do believe that like if we're getting down to like the nitty gritty like art of what you're watching, it really does come down to like the collaborative process on
yeah,
set and the collaborative process in post production that like makes what we see.
yeah. Well, I think an auteur is the person is so like influential that like his own identity like seeps into the material. Like he's like so influential that he's like the author
Mm-hmm.
of the film, and I feel like that like it depends kind of maybe like what you mean by like auteur, but I feel like I can totally see like many different filmographies and like only that one director could have like made that movie, and people try to like replicate things but they just can't get it straight on because there's just not that like identity in there that's missing, like the only the director could like really understand. That's why I feel like I do believe in auteur theory.
Mm-hmm.
But like Pauline Kael would agree with you as well, and she's super influential, but I would say I agree with auteur. Like I think there is auteur theory to a
Yeah.
certain extent. There is.
Well, don't get me wrong. Like I think that there are directors that are, like you can like rank directors. People have all these rankings online.
Yeah.
I do think there are directors that are clear with their message, are concise with like the way they go about every aspect of being a director, and
Mhm.
they're so talented that like no matter what movie they make, it's gonna have like that flair.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like I get that. I do
it's
think
like
in that
style. Like
sense.
we're talking kind of like I'm thinking more of like a stylistic. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's like styles attributed to certain directors that like people try to replicate but can't hit it because there is another X factor, which is like the overall personality of the
Mm-hmm.
person making the movie. A person can't replicate another person like completely, like with even in
Oh no,
themselves.
no.
You know what I mean? And I think
Yeah.
stylistically, I think I'm talking like more stylistically with like auteur theory, like a style attributed to directors. Those are like that's like a real thing, and no one can replicate that feel because it's only like they're the author of it.
I do think like it kind of sells the crew short a little bit in a way. Like when people not saying like
Oh yeah,
what you're
yeah,
saying, but
of
I'm saying
course.
like the way like media and people talk about
It's
it.
like what songwriters do. Like it's like
Yeah,
with songwriters and like everyone works behind an artist. It's yeah, it's always been that. It's like it's always been
yeah,
like the director is like the star. Like even like the actors get more credit than they should. You know
yeah.
what I mean? It's really the people behind the camera that are doing it. But obviously, like attention's gonna be attributed to the actors and the director if they're like a big director. You know?
But yeah, but I think that like there should be more credit attributed. I know that it's like not a problem that like we're gonna fix or anything or like that's gonna change. It's just like the perception that like
Yeah.
the public has over a film, you know. But like
Well,
what
so
I'm
in
saying
any,
is like there's so much that goes into like fucking you know just like the minutia of like a set design or something
Yeah.
like that, and like and
it's
the
a
director-
collaboration of every art form.
It is a collaborate, and that's
Yeah.
what makes it the best. But like, I do agree with you. I think there are directors that stylistically have such a distinct vision that like no matter what you're watching, you can tell it's from that.
I definitely think that too much credit is attributed to the director, and that like obviously a lot of others like they needed like help, and there's like people who like did a lot for the films, but I don't think that's still like I still think that their vision came to screen kind of like because how they described it. I think there's still auteur theory, even though there's still rules that are way more influential than we give credit to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my final thing I want to say.